Some shadows follow you even when there's no light. They don't need the sun to cast their shape. They exist in the corners of our vision, in the silence between heartbeats. This is a true story from a small, isolated village, a place where the modern world felt like a distant dream. It's the story of a man who encountered something that was not human, something ancient and unsettling. Imagine a place tucked away in the vast landscapes of Pakistan, where life moves to the rhythm of the sun and the seasons. This is where we meet Rashid, a simple farmer. His days were a testament to hard work and faith. From the early morning call to prayer echoing across the fields, to the evenings spent with his family, his life was one of peaceful routine. The golden wheat fields were his kingdom, the laughter of his children his treasure. The village itself was a tight-knit community, bound by tradition and shared stories. But like any old place, it had its secrets, its whispers that traveled on the night wind. People spoke of a shadow, a presence that haunted the old, forgotten well at the edge of the village. They called it a jinn. The elders warned that it only appeared after the world had fallen into the deep slumber of midnight. Rashid, a man of logic and faith, would often smile at these tales. He believed in God, not in ghosts that lurked by wells. For him, they were just stories, meant to scare children into coming home before dark. He had no reason to fear the night, not yet. One evening, work in the fields kept Rashid later than usual. The moon was a pale sliver in the inky sky as he began his walk home, his lantern casting a lonely circle of light on the dusty path. The familiar sounds of the night, the chirping of crickets, the rustle of leaves, were his only companions. But then, another sound joined the chorus. Footsteps. They were soft, but definite, matching his own pace. He stopped, listening intently. Silence. He turned, holding his lantern high. The path behind him was empty. Shaking his head, he dismissed it as his mind playing tricks on him. He started walking again, a little faster this time. The footsteps returned, closer now. A prickle of unease ran down his spine. He didn't look back again, but he could feel it following him. A silent, predatory presence that clung to his heels. The shadow stayed with him, a terrifying escort, right up to the wooden door of his home. He stumbled inside, bolting the door, his heart hammering against his ribs. That night's sleep offered no escape. In his dreams, the smoky shadow returned, leaning close, its voice a dry whisper that scraped against his soul, repeating his name over and over. Rashid. The days that followed were wrapped in a shroud of quiet dread. The rhythm of Rashid's peaceful life was broken. His livestock, usually eager for water, became skittish and refused to go anywhere near the old well. A strange tension settled over his home. At the stroke of midnight, a new, unwelcome ritual began. Knocking. Soft at first, then more insistent, echoing from the walls of their small house even though no one was outside. Water buckets, left full in the courtyard, would be found overturned in the morning, the ground soaked. Lanterns would flicker and die as if snuffed out by an invisible breath, even on the stillest of nights. Rashid tried to maintain a brave face for his family, but the fear was a knot in his stomach. His wife, a quiet and observant woman, started seeing things too. Fleeting shadows darting across the courtyard, gone the moment she turned her head. The feeling of being watched was constant, an unseen guest in their own home. And then came the whispers. Faint, sibilant sounds that seemed to come from the very air around them, carrying on the breeze, curling into their ears. And always, they seemed to form one word, one name, Rashid. The haunting call from his nightmare had crossed over into his waking world. His sanity fraying, Rashid knew he couldn't face this alone. He sought the wisdom of the village elder, an old man whose face was a roadmap of the years he had lived. His eyes, though clouded with age, held a deep understanding of things unseen. Rashid recounted the terrifying events, his voice trembling. The elder listened patiently, stroking his long white beard. When Rashid finished, the old man nodded slowly. "The stories are true," he said, his voice low and grave. "A jinn resides by the old well. Its resting place was disturbed many years ago by careless men. Since then it wanders restless and angry, searching for something, or someone." The elder explained that this entity was now drawn to Rashid. He gave him a small, worn copy of the Holy Quran and instructed him to recite specific verses, Surah al-Baqarah and the powerful Ayatul Kursi, for protection. "These words are your shield," the elder warned, "and you must never ever walk alone at night again. Do not provoke it," Rashid promised, clutching the holy book as if it were his last hope. To test his own courage, he picked up a stone and threw it into the abyss, waiting for the familiar splash. There was no echo, only a profound, unnatural silence. Then a whisper slithered out from the depths of the well, right beside his ear. "You called me." Terror, cold and absolute, washed over him. He watched, paralyzed, as a column of black smoke began to rise from the well. It coalesced into the same tall, shapeless figure he had seen before, its form shifting and unstable, its red eyes burning with ancient malice. Rashid's survival instinct kicked in. Fumbling for the holy verses, he began to recite, his voice shaking but growing louder with each word. "Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum." The ground beneath his feet began to tremble violently. The jinn let out a shriek that was not a sound but a feeling, a tearing at the very fabric of the night. As Rashid finished the verse, a blinding flash of white light erupted from him, engulfing everything. Then silence and darkness. Rashid awoke to the gentle warmth of the rising sun on his face. He was lying on the ground near the well, disoriented and aching. As he sat up, a sharp, stinging pain shot through his arm. He looked down and gasped. There, seared into his skin, were burn marks. They were dark and distinct, perfectly shaped like the long, slender fingers of a hand that had gripped him with immense force. For days after, he could barely speak. His voice was a weak, hoarse whisper, as if his very life force had been drained from him. He went back to the elder, showing him the mark. The old man examined it with a somber expression. "It did not possess you," he said softly. "The holy words protected your soul, but it has marked you, a reminder of its touch, a claim it will never forget." The fear never left Rashid after that day. The peace he once knew in his village was shattered forever. Not long after, he gathered his family, packed their few belongings, and left the village of his birth, hoping to leave the shadow behind. Some shadows don't need bodies to exist. They live on in the memories of those who've seen them, in the stories whispered on dark nights. Even miles away in a new village, Rashid would sometimes feel a sudden chill, a familiar sense of being watched. The old well may be far away, but its inhabitant had left an indelible mark on his soul. And sometimes, on a quiet night, if he listened very closely, he could almost hear a faint, distant whisper on the wind. "Rashid, thank you for joining us on this chilling journey. Remember to protect yourself with faith and light, for the world holds more secrets than we can imagine." If you want to hear more true stories from the shadows, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.